just came out like literally a couple days ago, so this is going to be a spoiler, I guess, video at the end of the video. So I'm going to be talking for the beginning of the video, talking about just like the MCU, where is it going, the MCU's movies that have come out already, some of the shows that have been on Disney Plus, and then closer to the end of the video, I'm going to be doing like a, spoiler warning part of it, where I'm not going to be going more in depth on the movie, what I thought about the movies, the actors, the storyline, the plot moving forward, all that stuff, diving into my own brain and conspiracy theories on the movies and what's going to happen next. But the first part of this movie is going to be the first part of this video is just going to be me blabbering on about the MCU, what I feel about it, some of the shows and movies that have come out already, and then jumping into the more spoiler stuff, so you can stick around for a little bit of the video if you really want to. Give the video a like if you want to. Don't go to the comments if you haven't seen the movie yet, because probably going to be some spoilers in there as well, so make sure to watch that out. But yeah, make sure you do obviously like the video and subscribe to the channel if you are into this kind of stuff. Obviously, if you've noticed, if you're new to this channel, I'm obviously very much into sports, but I always dabble in a lot of different other things, like of course Marvel, Star Wars, even traditional ASMR like role plays or trigger videos. I do a bunch of different stuff on my channel. This channel is basically just me in an ASMR YouTube channel. So like I said, the first part of this video I'm going to be talking about phase 4 of the MCU, which is the phase we're in right now, the phase after Avengers Endgame. Talk about the stuff that has been going on so far. Then later on in the video, I'm going to be doing a spoiler warning on the new movie Spider-Man No Way Home, which I just came back from the movie theater watching, and I do have a lot to say about it. Alrighty, so like I said, the first part about this video is going to be sort of the MCU as a whole, and the stuff that has already come out, the things leading up to, I guess, the most current of Marvel Cinematic Universe that's going on right now, which is obviously Spider-Man Far From Home, and also the new Disney Plus series Hawkeye. So a lot of things going on right now if you're a big fan of Marvel, which I definitely am. But I guess we can start out with the first sort of movie to come about after Phase 4, which I guess you could technically start it out with Spider-Man Far From Home. No, not Spider-Man No Way Home. Spider-Man Far From Home, the movie with Spider-Man, Mysterio, that whole movie, which was good. Definitely better than I think what other people thought. I thought Mysterio was great. Jake Gyllenhaal, probably my favorite actor of all time, was in it, and I think he played that role extremely well. And I really thought that movie was definitely better than what other people may have thought of it. I definitely do see it more as like a filler movie, just to sort of have a light transition out of the sort of Thanos era of Marvel and sort of this new era of, I guess, undiscovered movie plot that we have no idea what this timeline is going to be on. So that movie, pretty good. I liked it a lot. But I guess technically the first sort of domino to fall for this new phase was the new Black Widow movie. I think it was just called Black Widow. I didn't think it had a subtitle or anything, but the Black Widow movie, which for some people they may have never even seen. I know for a lot of people definitely haven't, and don't worry, I'm not going to be like spoiling anything, talking about like things that happen or like going super in depth on anything. I'm just going to be giving like a brief overview of what I thought about the movies and stuff. But I think we can all agree the Black Widow movie was decent at best. A lot of people did like think it was a good movie, which yeah, it was a good movie. I saw it in a movie theater, which may sort of, I don't know, turn my feelings about it, because obviously a movie in a movie theater just makes it way better. But for a lot of you, you may have seen it on or saw it on Disney Plus, which I don't know if that experience changes anything, but again, pretty decent movie, maybe like a 6 or 7 out of 10. It was decent. I will say, again, not really a spoiler, but it doesn't really add anything really to the story. It obviously just goes into depth more and builds character on the Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff, whatever you want to call her by. And I think it's really cool that they did that with this movie. It definitely, again, it deepens the character a lot more, and I think you do finally get to feel a sense of the character way better than at least what I thought when I was first watching the Avengers movies. Then we had, oh man, maybe the WandaVision show. I think that was also a thing. Maybe that even came before all of that. I don't really again, sorry for your taste, which is also a good show. But again, I just think the story, the telling in WandaVision just makes it better, at least in my own eyes. Definitely need to watch that. What else? Loki, I think, was maybe the next thing. I think Loki, another Disney Plus show. This one was also really good. Again, if you like the WandaVision show, you will definitely be very much into Loki if you haven't seen it already. Again, sort of a more slow-paced storytelling thing. Obviously, again, very, very, very good actors in this one. So the storytelling is a lot better. Also, like with WandaVision, the visuals in the show is also super duper amazing. The different places it takes you, the different add-ons they have to the story of not only to Loki the character, because obviously this is going to be a spoiler, but Loki, this isn't the new Loki that we all know and love. This is a different dimension, or I guess different timeline Loki that is now placed into our current timeline, so he doesn't remember all the cool adventures that him and Thor went on. He has to kind of learn it himself, which is very interesting. Then we had Shang-Chi, which, again, me personally, I thoroughly enjoyed. I think it was, if we're rating these, definitely better than the Black Widow standalone movie. For a standalone movie, a new introduction character movie, I think it's one of the best ones Marvel has come out with. Obviously, some of the standalone Marvel movies have been pretty lackluster for some. I mean, like the Ant-Man movie, that was a good one, but nothing too super crazy. Captain Marvel, that's sort of another example of like okay, whatever standalone movies. But this one, I thought it was really, really good. It's not Black Panther level or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, but I thought it was a good one. Being someone who loves sort of more martial arts, hand-to-hand combat when it comes to Marvel superheroes, I think they did justice in this movie. There are some points in time where it does look a little bit corny, but I think that the action scenes are really cool. The storytelling definitely, comes and goes throughout the movie. Sometimes it's really dope, sometimes you're really into it, sometimes it just completely falls off and you're like, what the heck is even happening? But I guess that's sort of Marvel in a whole. Sometimes you completely love it, and sometimes you have no idea what's going on. In this movie is definitely kind of like that sort of roller coaster where you're like, this is awesome, and you're like, what the heck is even happening? I guess the next one would be the Eternals, which was interesting. I did see the Eternals, and it was good. Obviously, Marvel movies aren't necessarily bad movies. Like, I don't think I've ever left a Marvel movie where I was like, oh, that was a dumb movie. I lost money watching that, you know what I mean? It was good. This is definitely more of like, if you are really into the comics, if you really understand like a lot of the comic sort of lore to the things, definitely highly recommend this movie. Don't get your hopes up too much because they do change a lot of the story, but they are true to it in some sort of senses. But it is, I feel, very hard for Marvel though to introduce a bunch of new characters back to back to back. I mean, there's like what, 7 or 8 superheroes in this movie, and for them to have to give them all backstories and develop relationships and give you sort of where they're going in their lives and where they've been in their lives, it's kind of hard to do that for 7 or 8 different characters. A lot of people said it was maybe even the worst Marvel movie ever made. I don't think that at all. I liked some of the characters. I thoroughly enjoyed some characters. Some characters didn't really stick with me all that well. Again, a movie that I'm assuming in the future will play a big part. There is a thing that happens at the end that is pretty important, I guess, but I guess that comes into terms of, how in-depth you are with Marvel and how much you want to get in depth with it. It is a sort of just, typical action-y Marvel movie with a lot of story, a lot of plot, a lot of backstory. So if you like that kind of stuff, I guess this is the movie for you. And now finally, we're gonna get into some of the more spoiler stuff of the new Spider-Man movie. So the first bit of it, I'm just gonna be basically like, if you've seen the trailer of the movie, you would understand this. So don't worry if you're still, watching, listening, trying to relax or be entertained or whatever. I'm not gonna go super in depth on the movie. You'll know when I say, spoiler or put something up on the screen to tell you that this is like, I'm getting more in depth about it. But I'm just gonna be going over the very vanilla version of the movie. And again, if you've seen the trailers, you already know this stuff already. But yeah, obviously, the and obviously his journey through trying to figure out himself. How is this going to affect his life? And it seems like he doesn't like it, so he's going to, Doctor Strange telling him to, hey, I don't want this anymore. Can you help me? And he says, okay. He basically tells him like, hey, I want this change. I want everyone to forget that I'm, Spider-Man. He's like, okay, cool. And then he's like, well, not this person, not that person, not that person, not that person. That, Mary Jane, Aunt May, Happy, even Doctor Strange would even forget. So he doesn't want that. Obviously confusing and very getting on the nerves of Doctor Strange, messes up the spell that makes everyone forget, and instead of making everyone forget Spider-Man, it makes everyone who has known Spider-Man come to the universe that Peter Parker, that we know him as, come to, which is definitely not a good thing. Which again, if you've seen the trailer, I mean, of course you've seen, the Doctor Octopus, like, blah, like, arms coming out, which, again, what a amazing character to bring back into the MCU, which obviously Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is just maybe one of the best superhero movies of all time. It's maybe everyone's favorite Spider-Man movie is Spider-Man 2, and to bring him back, absolutely crazy to see that. So I think obviously with that starting it off, I think it's a really cool thing to sort of how is this going to affect the MCU now that, the multiverse is officially in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's always been teased a lot here and there, but as we can see, it's real, and it comes to fruition, and it's pretty intense. Okay, hopefully you saw that, but if you're not, I guess, watching the video, if you're listening right now, this is the spoiler part of the video, so make sure, please, if you have not seen the movie, first of all, please, God, please watch this movie. I might have to do like a new ranking MCU movie video, which I've done before in the past. I'll probably link it somewhere in this video. I haven't had such a fun and interesting movie experience since Avengers Endgame, and this one was very close and similar to how I felt, how this movie made me feel since Avengers Endgame, which obviously came out a handful of years ago. That was the last movie I've seen, a movie where it really affected me in some way, where I really was starting to feel, anxious, feeling worried, excitement, feeling very sad in the movie theater. It's been a while, and it's been since Endgame. This movie really made me feel that, and that's obviously mostly because, again, last chance, spoiler warning, the characters they bring back, obviously, William Dafoe's Green Goblin, oh my god, which again, if you did see the trailers, I think he's either in the trailer, or his lav is in the trailer, or his grenade is in the trailer, so you could probably tell it would be the Green Goblin. But when I first saw this, I thought it would be a voiceover. I thought it would be a different, alternate universe Green Goblin, where it looked like, the William Dafoe Green Goblin, but it wasn't actually him. But it's actually William Dafoe in the movie. That is crazy to me, and the character that he brings to this is just, it's a different level. Like, when I'm talking about not only MCU, villains, I'm talking about any movie villains, William Dafoe, he really brings it. I mean, I don't want to go too crazy, but, I think he's definitely up there with, the Thanoses, and maybe even, Heath Ledger's Joker type of, character bringing to this, because he acts in such a way where it was really amazing, even maybe better topping his Spider-Man 1, original one, acting, I would say. And it's so crazy how the fact that all of these characters are where exactly they were when they were fighting that Spider-Man, and them having that same, oh, I need to kill Spider-Man mindset, I thought was also super sick, because they go absolutely ham on Tom Holland's Peter Parker. It is crazy, and I thought it was a crazy, fun experience, especially with everyone else in the audience, seeing all these characters reappear and reappear and reappear back to back to back. It was just an exciting moment. Then, of course, you have the amazing Spider-Man characters coming back. Obviously, Dr. Connors, isn't his name the Lizard Man or something like that? I'm trying to remember. I don't remember, but his character, definitely, kind of disappointed wish they would have brought Harry Osborn's Goblin to this universe. I thought if you could replace him with Harry Osborn, that would have made such a cool difference. Adding that with obviously a big time character coming back, I'm going to call that a little bit later, but you know, the Lizard Man coming back. Then obviously you have Electro coming back, Jamie Foxx, which again, Jamie Foxx, I think again also a character that maybe it stole the show. I thought his character's depth, adding it a lot more to than just being just some like sideshow villain in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 to being arguably besides Green Goblin maybe being the big baddie of this movie, quite honestly. And him always being there and poking and prodding at Tom Holland and really testing him and really trying to be the best version of himself, which really was really dope. And of course, another really big thing was adding Sandman to the mix. And again, amazing how they tied this whole entire movie with just adding the characters in from where they were at in their own respective universes and movies. Sandman in the beginning, when he first meets Tom Holland's Peter Parker, he's trying to help him because if you don't remember, in Spider-Man 3, he turns good. He's a good guy. He finally comes to, I guess, realize I just want to be better for my daughter and things like that. So I thought that was really dope that they actually added that to his character. That you know what, he was just trying to just be better for himself. Now obviously that doesn't turn out to be all that great because when he figures out he's gonna die, he doesn't really like Peter Parker anymore. So that kind of sucks. But at the beginning, I thought that was really cool that they added that sort of moment where it's like, oh wait, that's right, Sandman actually was turning when, the end of Spider-Man 3. But of course, this movie was just completely, like, taken over by villains. I think the villains, of course, made this movie. And I feel like for any amazing, great, not only superhero movie, but amazing movies in history, the antagonists are just as important as the protagonist. And I think in this movie, they got it on the dot. Not only because the characters they brought back, obviously very important to the MCU, the Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, Electro, all very important, which they could have just filled in with any randoms. But the actors that they brought back with the characters is just so important. I think that's mostly all I really want to talk about the villains, how amazing they were. Of course, William Dafoe, again, just, oh my god, just the action sequences, the dialogue that he had with Peter when he was not only just Norman Osborn, the scientist trying to help save everyone, yada yada yada, but also, being the Goblin, his facial expressions, his reactions to Peter Parker, the fights with Peter Parker, and of course, the crazy scene with him down at the bottom of the apartments or the condo, I guess, unit, and the fight scene with Peter there, and him just bagging and tearing, Tom Holland apart, and then the scene with Aunt May and the glider, like, oh my god, like, it was crazy. Like, that was a really well done, like, that scene from the apartment from when he turns to where, Aunt May dies. Again, sorry for the spoiler. When Aunt May dies, that entire sequence, even past that sequence, that whole chunk of like 30 to 45 minutes, just pure awesome if you are a superhero comic book MCU fan. And of course, the sort of biggest question marks throughout this entire, I guess, Spider-Man speculation is, are the other Spider-Mans gonna be in this movie? And I think obviously Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man was the first one to be leaked or reported or yada 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 confirmed, which, by the way, I love Andrew Garfield and his Spider-Man. I loved Spider-Man 2. I thought Spider-Man 2 was a good movie. Obviously, we can all sort of agree that Andrew Garfield was a really good Spider-Man. I don't think they really gave him enough time to really be a good Peter Parker, and it could have been, the directing, producing, the script writers, whatever, of the Amazing Spider-Man movies, but you didn't get that connection. And I feel like in this movie, you finally make that connection of, oh, this is what this character should have been the entire time, and I'm really happy we got to saw that, and maybe, speculation, again, having that conclusion or that ending of seeing, oh, okay, so this is how Andrew Garfield's The Amazing Spider-Man should have been the entire time, and I love it even more. Obviously, the character growth of him obviously losing Gwen Stacy was just tragic in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, And even at that point in time, I was super invested in wishing they would have made a new movie, to see his growth. And I'm glad you got to see it now, to him finally coming to like the realization of, you know what, I gotta move on, I learned from it, I gotta grow from this experience, yada yada yada. And then you see that obviously that connection he has, obviously with having lost with all the other Spider-Men, is super duper crazy. And of course, the big boy himself, Tobey Maguire. Yes, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man in this movie. Wow. What I thought was really interesting when they introduced these characters into the new MCU, if you've noticed, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is wearing his Spider-Man suit when we first see him, and Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, Peter Parker, we see him as Peter Parker first when he comes through the portal. And it's funny how people always say, Tobey Maguire was the best Peter Parker, Andrew Garfield was the best Spider-Man. I thought it was really cool that they even introduced them to this MCU, world as, their respective better parts. Obviously, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man and Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker. I thought that was really sick on how they added that. Maybe I'm looking a little bit too in-depth on that, but in my eyes, I got that as soon as I saw them. Like, wow, they even knew that these are the best of the worlds of these two, I guess, Spider-Men. But yeah, I thought he did great. It was interesting with the fighting scenes of how they added, obviously, he's not young Tobey Maguire anymore back in the 2002, 2003 when the first Spider-Man was taken, even though even then he wasn't even that old. Well, he wasn't that young. I think he was like in his 20s when those movies came out. I think he still did amazing. Obviously, the talking scenes, the Peter Parker, one-on-ones with all the Peter Parkers were the best moments, I think, maybe in the entire movie, of the interaction between Peter, and Peter. I thought that was amazing. And then also, obviously, with, again, the spoiler, I keep saying that as you guys are watching this video, obviously with Aunt May, dying, Peter Parker, Tom Holland's Peter Parker going through that, the amazing sort of scene of them all talking about their own losses, obviously with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man with Gwen Stacy, and then Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man with Uncle Ben. Man, I thought it was really, really amazing about that scene and having them all be there, because, yeah, it's true that all of those Spider-Men have gone through a lot of loss, and I think that's something that the Spider-Man character was really missing out. Tom Holland's Spider-Man is that he was so movie Spider-Man. You didn't really get to see anything else besides him, crime fighting, yada yada yada, always goofy, corny, trying to be nerdy Spider-Man. Like, I think he is the best Spider-Man so far. I think he's doing a really good job, but we never really got that in-depth, like, this is his moment, like, this is where he truly becomes his own Spider-Man, like, this is his own character, and we didn't really get the chance to see that until this movie. And definitely the end, it seems like that's the direction they're going, because obviously, after losing Tony Stark, you did see a glimpse of a moment where, there was some, development, some character growth from that happening, but it was only for like, I don't know, like 10 minutes of the Spider-Man Far From Home movie. You didn't really get to see, emotion, loss. You didn't really, at least in my opinion, let Tom Holland, the actor, really work his magic with his character and developing him into, the Spider-Man that we know from past Spider-Man, but also from the comics. The comic book Spider-Man is such a sad character that loses a lot, and it really grows his character to where he becomes, maybe even the best superhero in the Marvel heroes, in my opinion. And it seems like they may have taken a book from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man on that, really be okay with the choices that you make and being a superhero and what that actually means and the sacrifices you have to make, and all these really more complex, more deep meanings behind being a superhero. I feel like you're really starting to see that adding a little bit more into this sort of, I guess you call it a Disney MCU. You're finally getting that swooped in, and it's really making Tom Holland do an amazing Spider-Man character. And obviously Tom Holland is an amazing actor, and I feel like in this movie, he really got, again, I think I already said this, really got to let that show and shine, adding more grit and emotion and rawness, not just that like giddy up, like, oh, I'm super happy, you know, teenage Spider-Man, yada yada yada. You really got to see a little bit more of like a realness to it almost. And for some things I guess I didn't like about this movie, I know I didn't really talk a lot about Doctor Strange in this movie, but he wasn't really as involved as I thought he was going to be. He was in the movie for like maybe a total of like 10 minutes. The fight scene with him, well, the fight scene with him and Spider-Man is really dope. I wish it could have been a little bit more involved, and I also didn't really like, you know, I guess how like chill he was with just him trying to just change basically the entire universe, even remembering a certain character. I feel like that he was super chill about that. Yeah, I wish it could have been a little bit more in depth with the Doctor Strange, I guess, relationship, the correlation that he has with just, you know, oh, I have the spell, let's do the spell, and that's basically all he does in the movie. Also, Ned, apparently Ned can just control magic now, and I get it that, you know, it was, I guess, needed in the movie, but I wish they would have just in a different way. Like maybe if he would have like trained with Wong or did something else, I wish it would have just him, oh, wishing, oh, I can see Peter, and then he just whooshes his hand around and oh, the portals appear. Because obviously in the Doctor Strange movies, they train for a very, 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 very long time with the best sorcerers in the world. And it took Doctor Strange a very long time to even open a portal, but oh, he can just whoosh his hand around and oh, there's a portal opened up perfectly fine, you know what I mean? I thought that was kind of silly and dumb. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it for me, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy this video. Hopefully it's not too long. I'm probably gonna be editing a lot of stuff out because I've just been rambling on for like a good hour on the MCU, Spider-Man. Like, I love Marvel a lot. You know, you guys know I'm super into Marvel and Star Wars and Disney movies. I'm really big into that trio. So hopefully this video doesn't get too long, but I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have already seen the movie, go down in comments maybe some stuff that you really enjoyed, maybe your favorite characters. So make sure you guys also as well comment down below maybe your biggest takeaways, your favorite moments, your favorite actors, actresses from this movie, and again, like the video if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you again in my next video very, 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 very soon. I love you, love you, love you, love you, love you, and I'll see you then.